Hey y'all, this is Southern Woods here. Welcome back to the podcast. With me, I got Nate Case. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. You just released a new rap track called Real Name featuring Horseshoe Gang. I listened to it right once it dropped. Dude, it's got to be some of your best work in my opinion. Clean production, phenomenal. Tell me a little bit about it.
The song, in and of itself, it is definitely like one of my top tier kind of songs.
Right.
Well, at least since I made it. I recorded it in February 2024.
Okay, so over a year ago.
Yeah, yeah. My verse at least. Originally, when I made the beat and like the song, I had recorded within the same month of Lost It. So I had gotten Cassius featured on that song,
Mm-hmm.
and who I was really looking at was Obi Trice to get on my next song. So when I made the song, I had him in mind
Right.
to get featured on it, but I wasn't able. Eventually, I was able to get in touch like with his management and stuff, but like what he was able to do wasn't really within my budget.
Gotcha.
But the Shoe Gang that got featured on it, I've been listening to them since like 2020. They're the younger brother of this rapper Crooked I. He's like close in Eminem's circle. He was around Suge Knight during the Death Row era.
Yeah.
So that's how I know about them, and I'm a huge fan of all theirs because they're very authentic in the way that they're lyrical without being corny,
Right.
and they just do it in a like I can't even explain it. But yeah, they blew me away. At first, I got Julius featured in April. I didn't get his verse until April 2024.
Okay.
And so I had tried to come back on the song and make a verse, but it wasn't possible because he had just done his thing so crazy, like in just the most crazy way. I'm like,
Right.
I have to get someone else from the group on it. One thing led to another. After I got Kenny's verse, eventually I got Debo's. I didn't get Debo's verse till this year.
Yeah.
And so then,
Partly why it took so long
yeah,
to come out. Yeah.
I got Kenny's around last summer, and then, we had just put out the song. I've been wanting to put it out forever.
Hey, it was a process, but well worth the wait, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you recorded that over a year ago. All right. The process took a minute trying to get different people on board on the track. What have you been working on recently, right? That compares to that, like since then.
The thing is that like that type of music, I was really in like the bag I was in was closer to like early 2000s type of rap, like Eminem, Dr. Dre, most specifically.
Yeah.
I'm trying to branch outside of that box more. And so in order to do that, what I've been working on I'm not really going to say what kind of production, like I'm going to just wait until I put it out.
Yeah.
But
don't give too many hints.
Yeah. I had went to college in Kentucky in the University of the Cumberlands, and so being there, I wasn't able to record as much.
Yeah.
Eventually I had to take my mic there because the other places wasn't really working out.
Right.
So I had to just record in my dorm.
Hey.
And, over time, like it was hard at first, especially just like knowing I had neighbors and like my roommate.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to my roommate, Tyler Bell. I don't know how he would be able to deal with that. But yeah, I had to start adapting, and recording music in my dorm is a lot different
Right.
than being able to record it in my basement where it's like free range.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like if I had to pick up and record somewhere that I'm not used to other than my studio for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little difference to it. And that's a good question. Like, how has going into college, being a collegiate athlete, affected or impacted your music?
It definitely impacts it a lot because it's based on how I perform and like the activity I'm getting in. That all influence the type of music I make.
Right.
Really. So it's really, the track experience though was a whole adjustment because in high school I worked my way up.
Right.
To like be where I was, to run the times I was running. And then when I get to college, I thought, oh, it's an NAIA school, it can't be nothing too crazy. But their track program was elite, and they had all these elite athletes. And I basically realized, like, if I really want this, like, I have to relearn what I already know.
Yeah, almost like a reset.
Yeah. So it's just been an adjustment, really.
Right. Resetting, adjustment. Probably same thing with your music a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
out of high school and boom, it's like a whole new game now, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because the music I was making in high school, I was in like a fixed mindset, but now it's like a different type of hunger. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Now, we're talking about recent stuff right now. Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about your origin story a little bit. Like what first influenced you to like maybe get into the rap game?
I'm glad you asked that because initially I never started out like wanting to make music or wanting to necessarily be a rapper or anything or even an artist. I had just always been a big fan of like cinema and movies.
Okay.
And my oldest brother Logan, he had always made like short films and like had a green screen and knew how to do all that.
Gotcha.
And so he would include me in those. And over time, like I would, when he went for college, he had a tripod, he had a camera. I learned how to do different kinds of stuff through that.
Right.
But I'd always use like the music that I'd use in my short films, I'd always make sure like it was like the best I could use from whichever movie or
Gotcha.
soundtrack. So I really just started off making short films, making movies, and over time, the more I listened to rap music, it felt more personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that it turned out this way because as a kid, you don't really know like Hollywood for what it is,
right?
Or, like, getting
right.
into that business, what it could do to somebody. So,
oh yeah,
I'm glad that things turned out in the way they are now.
So you went from like aspiring film creator or actor to rapper.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be like called like the term rapper because it's not even how I see myself.
True.
But
if you were to label yourself, what label would you give yourself?
Well, I don't know because I want to be like a jack of all trades.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to make good like videos and music and like quality content.
Yeah.
So
I respect that. Like just comparing it to what I do. Right. It's like I don't want to be just a YouTuber.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also don't like the label content creator or influencer. Right. I want to not be put in a box.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do whatever I want to do and not have that label on me. So I respect that answer greatly.
And there's such broad terms for people who are essentially don't want to go down a normal career pathway.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's ideal to the people that are able to express themselves in a creative way.
Yeah. So you mentioned this transition, right? From the film to the music.
Yeah.
Was there a specific spark or moment where you're like, this is what I want to do? Or was it just very gradual?
It was extremely gradual because all of like elementary school, I would make short films, and then like in middle school, that's when I started rapping.
Okay.
But like I was still deep into the movies and like making like they had like reflections is what they'd call it. So like I'd submit my film and they would like go on to like this contest.
Right.
And I would like win in 6th and 7th, and then I think 8th grade was quarantine.
Yeah.
So it'd like win the county, win the state.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And it was just like short films of like me and my dad. Like I'd use like Nerf guns and like soundtrack from good movies.
Nice.
And yeah. It's all thanks to my brother though, because I would have never gotten introduced to that kind of stuff or like filmmaking.
Yeah, so, shout out to him,
Yeah.
Big influence.
But to answer your question, it was around quarantine when like, cause I had started writing music like basic stuff, 6th grade, 7th grade, trying to like be more intricate.
Right.
And then 8th grade, like trying to actually like say something. So during quarantine, I think that's when I started locking in on the music. Well, I guess I started seeing more results. Because I think I had been rapping like 2 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, quarantine was an interesting time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think they got their creative spark being cooped up,
Yeah.
I know around that time, 2020, that's when I graduated high school. That's when I was like, all right, I'm locking in with this whole, the film, I guess, flip-flop. I was like, I want to do this, make it a part of my life. Now, let me ask you about your, I guess, creative process or your writing process? Like when a song comes to mind, is it lyrics first? Is it like the beat first? How does it start, and then how do you develop it into a track that you like?
It's the beat every time.
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
there's times where it's like I'm doing things in the day,
Yeah.
and like certain like things will come to me that I
Yeah.
have that I wouldn't like think of in such like a detailed way, and so I'll have to like jot that down if I can, or like I guess melodies kind of come to me more like when I'm not making music, but when I am like in the process of recording, I really don't write as much as because I started out writing,
Yeah.
but over time, like it just got to the point where I didn't need to like overthink it as heavily,
Yeah.
and it would just be better off rip, you know?
Yeah.
Because people are like freestyle, like yeah, the songs like my songs technically are freestyles, like Lost It and Real Name,
Yeah.
but it's just how it's just to me it's better. I mean, when I especially my freshman year of college, I started trying to go back and like learn because if you want to be like an MC,
Yeah.
like a goat, you have to actually like know how to you have to write you have to be able to write 3 verses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and you have to know like the scheme, like the syllable schemes and you know how many bars per verse or per whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just my process of when I'm actually doing it. First, I find majority of my beats on YouTube
Okay.
because there's so many producers on YouTube that actually don't have a following and their
Right.
videos,
Right.
you know, it's only like the generic beats that actually get millions of views.
Yeah. True.
So the best beats are always like very low in numbers. So I find those and I use them and yeah.
Nice. Is there a certain way that you find those beats? Like certain, I guess.
Yeah, you got to look up like certain kinds of artists or how you're feeling or, you know, music
Gotcha.
era or whatever.
Gotcha. And you're usually able to find something that correlates
Yeah.
with how you're feeling. Nice. And then you got the beat, and then you could just go off of it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, because when I dibble dabble in music, I'm like the opposite, right? Like me, it has to be written first, and then like the actual instrumentals or anything like that goes afterwards. Like very very different style, but no, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, like where do you envision yourself in the next few years? Like, is there a certain producer you maybe want to work with? Is there a certain avenue you want to go down, or are you just kind of going with the flow right now?
Yeah, there's definitely some people that I have like gotten closer to being able to work with
Right.
that I want to work with. There's definitely people for sure. I don't really know like where I necessarily see myself because you like my plan isn't the same as God's plan.
True.
So I can't always as much as I have a vision and like have dreams that I need to fulfill.
Yeah.
They're not going to be carried out how I think they will be.
Yeah.
So I just have to try to do what I need to do, but also trust God in the process. So, you know.
Yeah. Great answer, man. Honest answer. Truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like so many people, they have this specific idea of where they want to be, and if they don't get there, or if it changes too far from how they want it, you know, they start crashing out a little bit, you know, falling apart. So no, that's a good answer right there. What's the most difficult song that you've released in your opinion? Like, what was the hardest thing you've had to write
Release?
or release? Yeah.
I want to say like Lost It was probably one of the easiest.
Easiest.
Yeah. But hardest, I want to say Fly took forever.
Really?
Yeah. It just took forever to finish. Cause I took inspiration for the chorus from another song, but it was from the producer, like same sample from The Nightmare Before Christmas,
Right.
their song, and I like intertwined the hook and like paid homage to it.
Nice.
to like these underground guys. Wolf Stealth. That's the name of the producer.
Mm.
He's my favorite YouTube producer,
Okay.
essentially.
Wolf Stealth.
Yeah. Shout out to that guy. But I don't use his stuff as much anymore.
Yeah.
I need to go back. But Fly just when because I had made the hook, and then the first like 2-3 bars that you hear in the song, I think like there was like a verse after that.
Right.
So I had to go back and I had to make like a good verse, or like no, I had to go back and I had to finish the hook.
Mm.
And after that, I can't even get into it. It honestly was a headache. And I find that song like rather annoying now.
Yeah.
I don't really like enjoy it.
Not like up to your standard a little bit, or just
it's just like,
or because it took so long.
it's experimental,
Yeah.
and like I definitely went through like a screaming era in my music in order to expand my vocal range.
Right.
But that was like, I think that was like the point where I was like, yeah, like I'm kind of over this.
Yeah. I will say, like, your style, like, I know you mentioned earlier, like, trying to venture into different styles,
Yeah.
right? I don't know, whenever I've listened to your stuff, it's kind of funny to me, like, you can go from, like, so serious to, like, almost not nonchalant, but unserious, right?
Yeah.
And how you deliver. And it's so funny to me, like, you go from, like, so goofy to purposeful, and, like, you can switch it up so good. And that's one of the things I appreciate about your music in general.
I really do appreciate that. I do. Because I try, when I'm recording, I try to keep in mind that like someone needs to be entertained by this.
Right.
I'm not just going to make it and then it's good enough, or like I don't know. But I really do appreciate that, because I try. People will say that I do the same thing, but I really try to switch it up, or at least expand.
Right.
To continue just growing as an artist.
Is there any specific things that you want to experiment with, whether that be with your flow or maybe a production aspect?
Yeah. There's definitely like a type of production I'm gearing towards that I want to be able to use.
Yeah.
And like aesthetics in general. Definitely some future aesthetics I have my eyes on.
Any clues or hints you want to drop with that, or keep it very low key?
It's just like the vibes. Like I want to be able to give the listener a certain vibe.
Right.
When they see the cover and they hear what I'm saying and they like connect the dots.
Right.
With the beat, and the beat sounds good and you can enjoy the song.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I can't speak for, stuff that I haven't done or released. Yeah. But definitely sit tight for that.
Now, another aspect that I want to get into, now that I've known about your film background, right? What about like the music videos? Like anything regarding that you want to talk about? Like the actual film production of the music side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I believe I've done about 3 music videos. Mm-hmm. I haven't released one. But the first one of them is going to be released.
Right.
It's not done.
Yeah.
My part's done, but it's not done. And the first one I made, I had my friend Mikey, Quiche Money, the guy on Good Man Mike, Lil Keezy.
Yes, sir.
He had filmed this music video I had called War. And it was just like in this construction site. And I had made the song, and then we went and we made the music video in the same day.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was definitely like good at the time.
Right.
But I never got around. I was working on other stuff, and I never got around to it. So it didn't withstand the test of time.
Yeah, sometimes that'd be like that. Certain projects kind of just fade away a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, this was going to be good, but now it's just on the shelf,
Facts.
That's just the way it is sometimes. Yeah, because I feel like that, especially if you can rekindle that passion for film, the music video aspect would be really cool.
No, the combination would be fire.
Yeah. But I feel like you got a real creative mind. I'm very curious to see what you could come out with in the future.
Oh yeah. When I have like the budget.
Yes.
And I have like the correct people around me, I'm gonna make sure my music videos have like cinema aspects.
Right.
For sure. But the second music video I made last summer, it was like more experimental sound. So the video looked really good.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like the song.
Mm.
And so I just never got around to that. The third one is filmed in New York, and it's for real name.
Okay. So that's the one that's going to be coming out eventually. Yeah.
My brother filmed that on this like fisheye lens.
Oh, nice.
On his phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still awaiting the guys on the song to send their half.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, the song was worth it after about a year in production, you know.
Oh yeah.
The music video, maybe throw that one out, even if it's
Oh, it's definitely it's getting released no matter what.
Okay, cool. I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah.
Going back into the now, all right, the grind with college and everything, you know. How do you stay locked in, staying fresh?
I have to try to stay locked in, honestly.
Yeah.
It's hard. I just track really helps me stay locked in.
Okay.
Because when you see like other people perform and like put in the work.
Right.
I wasn't able to perform how I would thought in my head.
Yeah.
What I was going to, like the path I would be on to going to freshman year of college.
Right.
I didn't perform because like I wanted to run 48. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to really lower my times. I didn't get a chance to do that, but I did get faster, and I learned how to like improve my style of running.
Right.
So I'm confident enough with that, knowing that at practice, and I kind of have like that dog in me now because transitioning from senior year to freshman year, it was intimidating, especially like the collegiate meets.
Right.
Going to a college track meet, and you know people are essentially just running for money at that point.
Yeah.
It's not just a high school sport. And so like it was just all intimidating if I'm going to be honest. But now that I know that like I have to come back and do this X, Y, and Z, I'm starting to, you know, I'm locking in.
Simply put, you know?
Yeah.
To stay locked in, you got to lock in.
Yeah.
You know, don't get distracted, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was somewhere else I want to go with that. Okay. You're in this, you know, transitionary period of your life, right? You know, taking this seriously, all right, you're chasing this. What would you say to people not too far behind you, right? High schoolers who are thinking like, maybe I want to do this, you know, like what would be your advice to them based on where you are right now?
Well, I could say this to almost anybody, no matter how old you are, but like if you have an idea or something you want to do, like God didn't just put that in your head for no reason, or like you don't have that idea for no reason.
Right.
It's because of the way you think that the world would look at you is why you don't actually try to go for that.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. And I understand it's only rational, but literally, like, you know, if the greatest people of all time thought like that, they would have never done anything.
Right. You want to hear about them.
So, yeah, I would just say, like, it doesn't even get to a point, it's never too late to do what you want to do in life. Because some people, for some people, a lot of it's money.
Right.
They end up doing this or taking a career pathway, and it's obviously influenced because they want to be steadily financial.
Right.
And I understand that, like,
of course, yeah.
It's definitely risky going, like, trying to pursue content creation. But I've just seen it where people do this and they don't end up being happy or like they have a real purpose. But a lot of, I find purpose in Jesus Christ personally.
Right. Amen.
So I guess it just depends. If you're happy, you're happy. Mm-hmm. If you chose a career and like you're really happy with that.
Yeah.
Like I have nothing to say about that, but exactly. I just know that people, like, their potential is like infinitely more valuable than they could ever comprehend.
Right.
Or just even though I said it's never too late, the value in youth. Mm-hmm. You could be like older, you could be getting up there and have billions of dollars.
Right.
But you're still not worth as much someone who is like very young.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Dude, you were just spewing good advice. a lot of good advice coming from this mouth right here. No, I agree with everything that you just said. A good quote that I think I heard in a song recently actually is, "Fear is the gatekeeper to greater things." You know,
That's very true.
like don't let fear of taking that risk prevent you from achieving what you're capable of. Right?
Yeah.
Like don't fear the ability to use your God-given gifts to achieve what you want to achieve. Like so many people have potential but fall short.
Yeah. It's sad to see.
It is sad to see, and like this is such good timing. I feel like because there's people in my life that I'm talking to right now. They're stuck in a 9 to 5 already, right? Like they're in a 9 to 5 career that they don't enjoy, right? They're barely scraping by, and I just keep telling them, like, if you want to be somewhere else, take that leap.
Yeah.
Like, and it's scary, but like you can't let the fear consume you, or else you're going to be living a life that's not as meaningful to you.
Yeah. It's such a leap of faith.
It is. It really.
So I get it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't shame anybody.
No, absolutely not.
Because I've taken leaps of faith and they haven't always,
Right.
ended up where I wanted.
Yeah.
So I get it. I do.
Because usually it's a grind for a while.
Yeah.
Usually those fruits of what you aspire to achieve, they don't show up for a while. Some people, they hit it pretty quickly, but like with me personally, like I'm on just a grind.
Oh yeah.
I'm barely scraping by, but there I could give up, but why? Why would I? Like
Oh yeah.
I have higher aspirations. I feel like there's a path that God has sent me on.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for you. Oh man,
Life is just too short.
life is too short.
Like it's
Simply put.
it's just you can't waste. I mean, even though I waste plenty of time
Right.
all day, every day, but I can't. I can't afford living a life
Right.
knowing that I had wasted potential.
Exactly.
So
Go out and get it.
yeah.
Now, wow, that was a good side path.
Yeah. For sure.
Hopping back onto the music aspect, is there anything that you want to say specifically that I haven't asked? Anything that comes to mind?
I do want to point out I first started take like music like because I had wanted to do it because I had heard this and that.
Right.
But the moment it came into like my real life
Okay.
was when I had figured out one of my homies from school, Alex Phillips, lived
Mm-hmm.
around the corner.
Okay.
And so, I went over there, we hung out. He had made like parody music, like he had a microphone and like this software, just basic amateur setup.
Right.
And so going there and like, my parents have always been very like they just, you can't just like curse in the house for no reason.
Right.
Like that wouldn't fly.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't necessarily just record music midday at the house.
Yeah.
I mean, even now I still try to do it at night.
Yeah.
But at his house, it was, we got away with more. So I was able to really like start saying what I wanted to say there.
Right.
In like 2019. Over time, his brother Connor Howard.
Mm-hmm.
I like watched him because he had known how to like I had written music, but he knew how to flow.
Okay.
Before I knew how to flow.
Gotcha.
So like watching him and like doing that, like it was just all an experiment, all an experience that like I can't really describe now, but it was surreal, and that was like the squad.
Nice.
And that was like the origins of how my music started.
Like how it started. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Having to go to someone else's crib, basically, starting out a little bit, having that freedom to express yourself a little bit more. That's cool, man. What kind of equipment do you use currently?
Now I used to use a mic like this.
Okay, yeah.
It's good for talking. I see podcasters use it all the time, but it would get static when I'd like try to record into it. So now I just use a Rode mic,
Mm-hmm.
a MacBook, and FL Studio.
Nice.
Just like the preset I use is like it's one that my friend Josh Corey made. and it's just like basic like enhancer like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not honestly an expert on the production side of things.
Yeah.
That's why he does it for me, Josh.
Nice.
But it's not auto-tune. I use the same kind of preset.
Cool.
So nothing, honestly.
Nothing crazy.
No.
Hey, keep
Not
it basic.
Yeah.
I don't know. You want to be an interviewer? Anything you want to ask me?
I guess how's the fitness journey been? I saw you lost a lot of weight.
Fitness journey's been something. I actually, a couple days ago, recorded a video. That'll be coming out soon about that. It's been a grind. It's been over a year. Discipline and consistency would be the two things.
Yep.
The two key words there.
That you see on Instagram every day.
Yeah, but it's like, it's so true.
It's true, it is.
You don't have to be perfect. And I think this, beyond fitness, this goes for anything. You don't have to be perfect and always be hitting the marks. But as long as you're consistently going in the right direction, right? Like consistently in a calorie deficit or consistently in the gym, you're going to move in the right direction.
Yep.
You're going to have bad days. You're going to have off days in the gym, on the track and field.
Thanks.
But you can't let one off moment throw you off,
Facts. That's a bar. No, yeah. You're right, though.
Yeah, and that's where the discipline comes in, too. Even on those bad days, still putting in that work.
No.
I'm going to have a day at the gym where it's like, I know this is going to suck. I ain't going to be lifting as much weight as I usually do.
Yeah.
But it's still getting in there and having a sucky-ass workout.
Facts.
Right? And knowing that you did it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's true. The workouts suck, but...
Hey, but it's the grind that gets you to the greatness.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't even. Sometimes the workouts suck, but you just gotta swallow.
Yeah. Simply put,
That's the best way I could put
embrace the suck.
Yeah. All right, we might have to wrap it up on that note, honestly.
Yeah. 8:30, dude. Time always flies when I'm recording a podcast.
I feel you.
Already over 30 minutes. There's another thing I want to kind of end on, or kind of bounce off real quick before I forget, playing into what we just talked about, is whether it be with music or fitness, anything that you're pursuing, for the most part, progress isn't going to be linear, like a straight line, right? For me, there was a lot of ups and downs. That's just life. You're going to have hills, you're going to have valleys, and again, just staying consistent and going through that, right? Because eventually it will be progress, but just sometimes you're going to be in that valley and it's not going to seem like progress. But just keep your head up, keep having faith, right? Stick true to yourself.
You're right, yeah. Faith is the most important aspect of it all.
Exactly. And dude, like, eventually, if you want to hop back on the podcast, I need to get you on my faith podcast. If you'd want to do that, kind of tie that together more tightly.
Yeah, we can.
Anything else that you want to say regarding to your journey, your music, plans going forward? Anything that the audience needs to know about Nate Case?
The audience needs to know another song coming this summer called Mucho Loco, featuring Bizarre from D12.
Is that the one that you showed me a little while back?
I think I showed you the demo.
Yeah, okay. Hey, if that's what I remember, I can't wait for the final product.
Oh yeah.
Dude, stay grinding, man.
I will.
Keep it up.
I will.
You'll be an inspiration. Hey, if you go flying past me in terms of numbers, remember me.
I'll come back.
Your first
I'll
interview.
Bless the channel. Yeah.
Vice versa, man. Dude, Nate Case, thanks for being on the
No
podcast,
problem.
bro.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep. Southern Woods out.